If you're an affluent, successful guy and you find yourself settling for women that are quite frankly beneath you, then you are in the right place. The reason why affluent men especially tend to suffer in this area is because they quite simply don't make the time for it. And by it, I mean you have not set aside the time to learn, optimize, and actually do the act of modern dating, successfully anyway. Instead, you're spending every waking moment building companies, managing teams, protecting capital, and optimizing your health. Dating just gets whatever energy you have left over at 11 p.m. when you're half asleep and just kind of swiping out of boredom. And when you put in half-assed effort, you get half-assed results. So here's a mind shift for you. You, as a successful, established man, you are the male equivalent to a young, beautiful woman. You both represent peak value in your lane. So it makes zero sense to accept somebody who isn't operating at your same level in terms of looks, femininity, and of course, alignment with your values. No septum piercings and tattoos and short blue hair, unless you're into that. But if you are into that, get off this channel. You're not going to like what I have to say. We don't think alike. And if you don't see it that way, by the way, that a rich guy is the equivalent to a young, beautiful woman, that you both represent peak value in your lane, that's part of the problem. But anyway, whether it's looks or personality, no successful guy should have to settle. So in this video, we're going to talk about why you, as the high income guy you are, found yourself in this position in the first place, why it's more common than you might think. You're definitely not the only one, I guarantee that, and how to level up your results so you can actually date the women that you want. And boys, please make sure you stick around to the end, because I'm going to give you the exact blueprint that I used with my buddy Michael, who used this system to find his fiance. And this is the same system that Steven, an average looking guy in his 40s, uses to date women that society would normally deem out of his league. And of course, it's a system that I use, of course, as well. Okay, now, as I said earlier, the reason why you're struggling with this is because you are simply not making the time for it. You didn't learn to be competent in your business or your career without putting in the reps, and dating is the same way. Modern dating requires an entirely new approach. Somewhere around 60 to 70% of all romantic relationships begin online these days, yet you've been putting off getting this area of your life handled. You probably told yourself, I need to step it up, I need to start taking good photos, I need to hire a photographer, but instead, what do? You go back to working on your business, working out at the gym, and it gets put aside, procrastinated, and you never get it handled. And because you put no time into this, you have no idea how to put together what I call a high status profile, aka a profile that pre-sells you to women, that is attractive to women. You have no idea what do you wear, where do you go, how to make sure that the photo comes out good, etc. You have no idea how to do any of that stuff. Now, what does a woman think when she sees the types of photos, specifically the ones that I'm putting on the screen? Rich, successful, winner, social, cool, things like giving a speech to a room full of people, things like being on a podcast. What type of guy would do these things? Would it be a broke guy with no knowledge, no wisdom, a guy who couldn't upgrade her life, a guy who couldn't be a provider and support her financially, a guy that lacked confidence and intelligence? No, it would be the exact opposite. If you don't look like your net worth, then you are missing a golden opportunity. Now, what you guys probably have are what I call camera roll photos. Photos like these. Mo, let's put some of these camera roll photos on the screen right now. These are exactly what they sound like. They're on your camera roll. They were random. They were unplanned. And because, like I said earlier, you've never set aside the time to learn this. You have no idea what the fuck you're doing. You're putting up, like I showed earlier, those camera roll photos, and you're wondering why you're getting passed up. You're wondering why you look way better in person than you do in photos. You think that you're not photogenic. It's literally just that your face is being distorted. Well, let's put the photo up of Tiago. I'm not going to get into a whole tangent about focal length, but let's just say this. Every photo that you've ever taken for your social media or dating apps, if it was on a cell phone, your face is literally distorted. Your hairline may be pushed up. Your nose looks bigger. Your eyes look too close together. Your jawline is invisible. It's bad news. Because of course, like we talked about, you have better things to do. You're running companies, you're training new people, you're working 50 hours a week while still hitting the gym. I don't blame you. So you can go learn all this stuff on your own, go down the rabbit hole, watch a lot of free YouTube videos. I have a lot of tutorials on how to do this. I'll put some links in the description. Or you can just chat with me, go to my Instagram, and message me the word audit, AUDIT, on Instagram, and we can talk about this and give you a free audit on what you're doing well, what you're doing wrong. Look, it always comes down to one of two things. Either you have a lead problem, you can't get any matches on the dating apps, or at least, you can't get high quality, beautiful girls to match with you. Same thing on Instagram, the girls ignore you. Or you can get a couple conversations going, but the girls just flake on you, they ghost you. Maybe a couple of like the mid-tier, like the 5s and 6s don't end up ghosting you, but it's always the most beautiful girls end up disappearing. And look, sometimes it's a very simple fix, boys. For example, I had a guy that had most of the pieces put together. He had watched my content, implemented a lot of this, but he just simply didn't have any photos of him in the city that he was in. And in his bio, it didn't state that he lived there. He was some random Norwegian guy, and this was in a city in Brazil, and he had a great profile. He was handsome. He was a good-looking guy, high status, all this stuff. But he literally just in his bio was blank. It looked like a completely fake profile. It didn't say what he does for work, interesting facts about him, who he is as a person, what city he lives in, and he had other good photos, but not a single photo from Rio de Janeiro. He added photos from Rio. He stated that he lived there in his bio. Boom. All of a sudden, he started getting girls that would follow him back. Girls didn't think he was fake anymore, and his results skyrocketed. So sometimes it's a simple change like that. So yeah, we're gonna have a chat, figure it out. There's also a clickable link to my Instagram in the description of this video and more instructions. But either way, once you actually project your real life status and your real life net worth into your online presence, everything changes. Here's a big mind shift for you. Status beats looks. Notice how I said high status profile, right? Women only date up, as we've talked about. Now, sure, okay. Drunk girls, sorority girls, 19-year-old girls will go to the nightclub, they will get drunk, and they will fuck big, good-looking guys. I'm not here to say that looks don't matter. We're going to talk more about the importance of looks in this because they do kind of matter. I'd be bullshitting you if I said it's all status and wealth and lifestyle and confidence and portraying this high status presence. Your looks do matter, but for relationships, what girls want more than just the most hunky, handsome physical specimen is a guy who is their type. That's key. He has to be their type. Women have preferences for black guys sometimes, Asian guys sometimes. Some girls like tall, lanky guys. Some girls like guys that have like big muscles or like really, really like muscular. And if the guy's 5'5" or 5'6", it doesn't matter. Got to be her type. And then of course, he has to have the means to support her financially. Women only want guys that are superior to them. They only date up, they never date across, and they certainly don't date down. So let's go back to this universal 6 thing. I would be lying, I'd be gassing you guys up if I said your looks didn't matter at all. But you only need to achieve what I call the universal 6. It's a concept that I've talked about in the past, so I'll make it quick. I am a universal 6. You can at least tell that I have touched the weights before. My beard is like pretty well groomed. It kind of like looks like, I'll lower the mic, makes it look like I have a nice jawline and all that. I got the hair transplant, not the best. I've whitened my teeth. I got to do some more things. But look, point is, if you have a look, if you're well groomed and you have a look, again, if you're a black guy, you could go the urban look. You could be the tailored suit black guy. You could be the more, I don't want to say gangster, but you know what I mean, more, let's say rapper type black guy or whatever it is. You have to have some type of look, and you can't be a huge, overweight, ungroomed, unkempt piece of shit that's literally gross to touch. But once you're a universal 6, because think about it, I don't like ginger, pale white girls, but for some guys, if your type is redheads, a redhead that is like a universal 6, 6.5 is going to be an 8 out of 10 to guys who really like redheads. I like girls that are thick, big booty Latinas, thick morenas, big thighs, big boobs. If she's like not perfectly thin, if she's like got just like, I don't like fat girls, but she's got a little bit of chub, it's no problem. She's young and beautiful, long hair, pretty face. I don't really care if she's got, I mean, I want to get her in the gym, right? But my point being is like other guys find those types of girls disgusting. If you're a universal 6, you can use a lot of volume and you hit that minimum threshold, and then you don't need to be this big, perfect, elite male model looking guy. Same thing with charisma too. You can't be this weirdo who's like stuttering. You can't make eye contact. You're completely uncalibrated. You have weird, cringy dad humor. But once you have that threshold of looks, you're her type, and you have that threshold of confidence, humor, relatability, masculine polarity, all that stuff, then the only thing else that matters is your wealth and your status. And guys, it's not superficial. It's evolution. You were hardwired to like youth and beauty, and she wants a guy with status and resources, period. All right, so back to time. We talked about, time earlier. So apart from the fact that, like I said, you have no time to go shopping, pick out the outfits, get cool clothes, plan the photos, get them touched up, like choose the best photos and then do what we did here, which is touch them up in a very believable way, color grade them, put little filters, make your muscles bigger so you're about 20% better looking without anybody noticing. That's one part of it in terms of time. But the other part is swiping. Actually swiping and using the goddamn apps, like actually doing it, that takes an enormous amount of time. And ghosting is even worse. If women didn't ghost, okay, this whole thing would be 100 times easier. I read a study that says about 1 in every 57 matches turns into a date. For me, because I'm pretty smooth with my texting, it's probably about 1 in 20, 1 in 30. And if it's any higher than that, some guys, wow, for me, it's like 1 in 5, 1 in 4. You're probably going after very plain looking women. The most beautiful girls are the most likely to flake. We'll talk about that more in a second. Also, a lot of girls have been seeing me with and like the B-roll throughout this video. Some of them come from day game, some of them come from apps, but at least 50% of them come from IG, meaning Instagram. IG is Instagram. The quality is better, but the time investment in IG is even worse. The apps, they're good and bad, depends on cities. We can talk about dating app strategies. I have a love-hate relationship with them. But at least at the end of the day, they show you the women. But on Instagram, you have to go manually hunt them down. And of course, you want girls that have small private profiles that aren't showing too much skin. They're really hard to find. So remember I said earlier, I was going to talk about the system that Michael used to get his fiance, or that Steven uses to date girls that some people would say are way out of his league. Well, the system is building a high status profile and then automating it. I do both. I can help you build a profile and then automate it with a trained assistant, someone who will literally be logged into your socials and will impersonate you, pretend to be you, with your consent, of course, and talk to women as if he were you. Now, they don't really go past 15 to 20 messages. At that point, it's called a handoff. But the way we work with our clients is like there's an onboarding phase where we try to capture your voice. If there's particular questions that you want asked, like what are her political views, does she want kids, things like that, asked in a cool, smooth way to filter out girls they wouldn't be aligned with. And then they do all the swiping, all the initial messaging. They do dating apps and look for girls manually on Instagram. They filter, qualify, and then pass them off to you after set about 15 to 20 messages. At that point, it would be very hard to continue to impersonate you. But at that point, they're pretty solid. They're pretty locked in, probably about an 80 to 90% show up rate after that time, because they've gotten pretty far through the funnel, right? Girls that are going to ghost or flake on you are typically going to do it within the first few messages. If this sounds cool to you, go to my Instagram, which is RedbeardRants1, message me the word assistant. You can also check the video description for more info about that. So back to the original topic at hand now. Burnout is the answer, because the original topic of the video was, why do successful, high-status, rich guys like you end up dating very mid-plane chicks that are, quite frankly, beneath them? Burnout. You settle and give up due to the awful ROI on your time. You swipe, the girls aren't very hot, you get some cute ones, they ghost, they flake, you have to match with 57 girls on average, apparently, to get one date. Look, even if you got a match with 10 girls on average, that means 9 girls wasted your time. You're sitting there writing custom messages. You're reading their prompts. You're reading their bio. You're on Instagram looking at their story highlights, trying to be creative. They use you for entertainment. Boom, they're gone. Plus, you've been brainwashed by society to think that going for attractive women in their 20s, when you're in your 30s, 40s, or 50s, makes you shallow, and quite frankly, that you're a guy, you deserve less, and you should just be grateful for whatever you can get, that you can even get a woman at all. Well, I'm here to say, fuck all that. Here we don't settle. If you want to settle for women that are beneath you, click off my channel and block me. Never fucking watch me again, because here, sir, we go after feminine, cooperative, beautiful women who have non-annoying personalities and that we actually desire. So the main takeaway, boys, is you do not need a new personality. You don't need a new face. You don't need to grow 4 inches taller. You need a better strategy, and you cannot ignore your digital presence any longer. And the single greatest strategy ever invented on planet Earth is to run your dating life like a business, okay? Maximize efficiency, track KPIs, and delegate as much of the low value grunt work as humanly possible. If you want some help, like I said, you can find details on how to contact me in the description of this video. That's all I have now. Subscribe for more. Cheers.